Sometimes we have to take risk and be bold. Sometimes we need to ask for some help. I never would have gotten the footage that I got that day if I was embarrassed because I didn't have a professional photographer following me on my squad. Don't despise humble beginnings. All you need is someone who can press record. I've done this at conferences, when I was alone, and when I had a plus one. Footage of you speaking is priceless. Welcome to the Entrusted Women Podcast, a one-point podcast created to equip Christian women communicators of color. Every episode focuses on a single point to equip you in one of four areas: purpose, writing, speaking, and business. Along the way, I will share stories, lessons, tips, mistakes, and real-time experiences that I am learning on my journey as a Christian woman communicator of color. Now let's dive into episode 7. Today's one point is position yourself as a communicator. So when it comes to must-haves for positioning yourself as a communicator, I can think of several things you need, but I'm only going to give you 3 today. And I have a surprise that I'm going to be sharing at the end, so don't miss the end of this podcast. Now, the challenge with starting out as a communicator is that you are trying to convince event hosts and conference hosts that you are the right person for the job. You want them to be confident in your abilities to communicate and believe, strong word here, believe that you have a good grasp on the subject matter. You want their audience to be excited that you are coming. This is all very difficult and a little problematic when you consider that you're just starting out. There is little to no evidence that substantiates you are a great speaker. This is why one of the first things that I think you need to do, is to gather pictures of ourselves doing the very thing that we are trying to convince the event host and conference host that we can do: speak. The question becomes, how do you, in a smooth way, not an awkward, newbie, weird kind of way, get that photo? Let me just be honest and say I have been less than smooth on more than one occasion when it comes to trying to get a picture of myself speaking. Sometimes it works out where maybe I have a friend in the audience that can snap a quick photo of me and then text it over after I finish speaking. Sometimes there is an event photographer who I make sure and connect with ahead of time in order to request a photo. Sometimes you can bring a +1 to your speaking engagement. If this is the case, I typically bring someone who can capture a photo of me on stage. That person may or may not be my husband. If all else fails, you can ask a perfect stranger to take a picture. It's a little awkward to say you don't know me, but might you be able to take a picture of me when I get up to speak? But sis, you gotta do what you gotta do. Asking a perfect stranger to take a photo may communicate I'm desperate and this is my first speaking gig, but it will get the job done. Now, once you begin to accumulate pictures of yourself speaking, girlfriend, you need to start sharing them everywhere on social media and, most importantly, on your speaking page of your website. This is how you can say, I can do what I'm telling you I can do. And I don't want you to be stumped by the accumulation of photos. If the only photo you have is the blurry, distant one where you're on a panel, don't worry about it. You have to use what you have until you can get something else. For years, I only had about 2 photos of me speaking, and that's what I used until I got more. Y'all, we cannot despise humble beginnings. If we don't have a super professional photographer running around following us, taking high-res photos and instantly emailing us those great photos for us to put on our social media and our website, then we got to use what we have. The next thing you need is video footage of yourself speaking. This can also be a little tricky and difficult to get as well. And so all of the strategies that I mentioned for still photography are applicable for video footage. But there is one that I haven't mentioned, and that is bring your own video camera, BYOVC. Y'all, in order to do this, I have gone as far as bringing additional luggage that I had to pay for just so I could have my own video camera and tripod with me. There is no shame in my game. In one speaking event, I set up my camera and tripod in the sound booth, and then I touched base with the event photographer in order to see if she could just press record. And guess what? She could. It was a little stressful arriving in the auditorium with all of my bags in tow, my camera, my tripod, and all of my stuff that I needed to speak. But the footage I got that day is some of the best footage that I have ever gotten from a speaking event. Sometimes we have to take risk and be bold. Sometimes we need to ask for some help. I never would have gotten the footage that I got that day if I was embarrassed because I didn't have a professional photographer following me on my squad. Don't despise humble beginnings. All you need is someone who can press record. I've done this at conferences when I was alone and when I had a plus one. Footage of you speaking is priceless. You can use this footage to create a speaking reel, to share on social media, and to send to event hosts and conference hosts that might be interested in you speaking at their event. This is the best advertisement because they can see your style, your skill level, your expertise, and how the audience responds to you, but then also how you respond to the audience. So consider bringing your own camera, or BYOVC. My final suggestion is to create a speaker one sheet. Years ago, I remember someone telling me to create my talks without having speaking engagements. What? Why would I do that? That doesn't make any sense. I thought they were crazy. Who writes a message when they have nowhere to deliver it? Sis, we do. You and me, we do that. When someone does come a knocking, you will already have a message prepared and ready to go. But more importantly than that, you will be able to put a convincing blurb on your speaker one sheet that highlights what you can talk about or what you will talk about in one of the talks listed on your speaker one sheet. Your speaker one sheet should include a headshot or photos of you speaking, a bio, social media handles, and 5 titles or so with blurbs that you can speak on. The blurb is essentially the sales pitch for your talk. It is difficult to write the blurb if you're not sure of the direction that you're going to take in the talk. If you have mapped out your entire message, you can take the guesswork out of writing a blurb. Speaker one sheets can be sent to potential event hosts, and they can be available for download on your speaking page of your website. This makes the decision to hire you, which is what we all want, an easy one if your speaker one sheet does an excellent job of marketing who you are as a communicator and how you will impact their respective audiences. Now, I mentioned earlier that there are several things that I can think of when it comes to positioning yourself as a communicator. There is no possible way that I could tell you all of the things that are popping up in my head, boop, 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 when I think about positioning yourself as a communicator in this single episode. But I have good news. I have a surprise. Guess what? I created a new course, and girlfriend, I'm excited to share it with you. If there was ever anything that I know I was made to do, it's speak. In fact, I jokingly say I came out the womb with a microphone in my hand. I love speaking so much. I would do it for free, and I have done it for free a ton, but you cannot eat air, and air does not pay for the mortgage, electricity, gas, or water bills, so it's advantageous to get paid to speak. So in my course, I'm gonna talk about it. I'm gonna talk about all the things from getting the speaking engagements to managing the relationship with the event host to the actual talk that you're gonna give. I'm gonna be sharing with you everything that I learned from the School of Hard Knocks. So if you have a desire to speak, sis, don't wait, rush. Click the link to the Get Booked course below and learn more about how this course can help you. Additionally, I want to invite you to join our free community of entrusted women that are focused on determining the message that we have been entrusted with and the intentional purpose God created us for. Join me next week as we talk about why you should survey your audience.